the first trip that we went out there, we've done a couple, like me and Mike had never did anything. We went and did a couple triathlons, some small ones. They're called sprint distance, but we went and did those. Well, in between one and the other, we were outside their house and they were downstairs, or they had all gone to lift weights at like 10 o'clock at night, or they were downstairs already at home. You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I think that Nick was home, but Nate was lifting weights, something like that. But we hear a pop, 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 and me and Mike are upstairs. Like we're in the we'll call it like the guest loft or whatever. We're in like a living area, and it's like Nick and Nate, and he had a couple of friends, and their mom, I think, was staying with them. And it was like Nick had some success, and he'd gotten them this like 5 or 6 bedroom house, and hear a pop, pop, and psh, psh, like glass shattering, and like Micah's like, what was that? And I'm just like typing on my computer. I'm like, I don't know, probably somebody shot something or whatever. And like Micah's like, for real? So we get up, we like look through the blinds, and you can see like this guy like running away or whatever. He had taken a baseball bat to the truck that was Nick's neighbor. Boom, boom. And then he shot the car, like the truck. He just shot the truck up. And like, I want to say it was a cul-de-sac, but it was within, I could see it, And then I just sat back down, and I went back to getting on the computer, like I'm just disconnected. And then Michael's like, oh man, that's crazy. I'm like, yeah, dude. And I'm just like, we're watching movies and I'm on the computer. And the next morning, I'm looking for those guys like Nick and Nate, but they're outside, and I walk outside and they're talking with the neighbor. It's sunny outside, and the neighbor's like, damn, dude. And Nick's like walking back to the door, and Nick's like, man, somebody fucking shot his truck up. I'm like, yeah, dude, me and Micah saw that shit last night. And Nick was like, why didn't you call the cops? And I'm like, I was just like, I thought that's just what happened in Stockton.
You're too gangster for Stockton, bro.
Bro, I mean, like, I just was like, oh, that's just what happens here. Like, I wasn't like in fear, like, oh, like, oh, I should call the cops. Gunshots went off. I'm just watching the movie and like pop, pop, pop.
Like, I don't know the Diaz brothers, but I'd be afraid to like bring the cops over to their house too. Like, it's like, is that, I don't know. They might be kosher with it because sometimes they surprise you, but I wouldn't do that. I think you're right.
Well, like it happened. I just was like, oh, I just thought it was what happened here. Like I was like more of out of like a cultural type of respect. Like I'm not gonna, be a snitch or like, but like I can see that like people, and sometimes you need to call the police. Love the police, but sometimes if it's not your business, you should mind your own business, right? And like let
don't get hurt.
And I could see, we saw, it's not like he shot somebody or somebody was in the car. We could clearly see this guy just vandalizing this vehicle. And I was like, oh, it looks like that's what they do here, and so I just went back to minding my own business.
So cool. When we interviewed Brian Garrity, he goes, I got a crazy Diaz brothers story. And we're like, okay, well, what's up? He goes, Nate got a new car from a dealership. He was so happy. He got a brand new car. I fly out there and he comes to pick me up, and we're in like a minivan, like, just kind of like an old minivan. I just figured he'd want to show off his car. So I said, hey, Nate, where's your car at? And he goes, well, what had happened was somebody thought it was my neighbor's car and they shot it up. So that neighbor lost cars regularly.
And Nate had this old car, like this, I don't remember if it was like a 1980 Civic or if it was like a Geo Metro. I want to say it was like I can't remember, but it was like, I feel like a hatchback vehicle. I remember us riding by the car, or an old Accord. But I could see us, like, we rode by, is like, that was my car. Like, and he somehow found like somebody within the neighborhood to like sell it to, I was like, damn, dude, that thing got shot up. He's like, yeah, I sold it shot up.
Check out the full interview on iTunes, Spotify, and all major podcast platforms.